Good morning, Mr. Smith.
Morning, Your Honor.
You're here on the matter with Alafu versus Contra Davis.
Correct.
Okay, this was a motion for show cause, so a bench warrant can issue.
That will prepare same as far as bonds concerned. As a point of reference, the judgment's now slightly over 10,000. What type of bond would you like me to put into the bench warrant, Your Honor?
You can do 10%.
Prepare to submit. Thanks for your help.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Let's see, we have to meet David Lewis.
Meter party appeared.
There's no service. And then Betty Fry and Melina are working through there. Joint pre-trial. What's going on? On the record, in the matter of Mohammed Haj versus Frank Jaju and Tax Pros, file number 22-00199 SC, council appearance.
Please report, Your Honor, Sal Ghani on behalf of defendant who's here standing to my right.
Thank you. And sir, what is your name?
Mohammed Hodge.
And you do not have counsel, correct?
No, I'm not.
Very good. Today's the date and time set for first, a motion for summary disposition. And if we get beyond that, a bench trial. There was a motion for summary disposition filed back in December. Did you get a copy of that, sir?
I did.
Okay, where's your response?
I have a response, but I don't know if it's like how you would expect to see it. So,
Well, it's not about how I would expect, it's about how the court rules say it was supposed to be responded to. And you were supposed to file a copy of a written response in portion with the court rules, serve a copy on the person that you're suing, and then one on the court, and we don't have any of that.
I apologize for my crudeness as that's my first time actually representing myself. So, but I did write something up, and I don't know if it's acceptable at this point, but
Your Honor,
Yes,
court rules 2.116, letter G4 clearly indicate that a response must be provided, and if no response is provided, then judge will enter in favor of my client. There's no response.
that is court rule. Brought lawsuit. You have to know the court rules if you're gonna sue people. You understand that?
No, I don't quite understand it. I mean, I did pay for a trial. That's what I thought I was coming here for. And the motion is you can do whatever you may with that, but at the same time, I never got to say my side of what happened.
I'm gonna give you an opportunity to argue your motion verbally. It doesn't comport with court rules, and I recognize that you didn't avail yourself of that, but you need to know, because I don't know what your argument in response to their motion will be. So in the event that you're not favorable, you need to understand that if you're gonna bring a lawsuit, you are responsible to know the rules to practice in court, okay? Even though you're not an attorney and you're not hiring an attorney to represent you in such case, these rules still apply to you. Because you can't do a trial by ambush. You can't just decide you're gonna come in here and maybe state something that they didn't have notice of so that they can file a response to whatever you're gonna argue now. They properly served you with what their position was. And now they're not on notice as to what you're going to now argue before the court, which the court rules require them to know that before they get here today.
We have been talking back and forth, Your Honor, and I did speak with him a couple of times, maybe not on this motion, whatever he just called that, but I didn't feel the need to respond to that because I was paying, I thought I was having a trial, so.
Okay, I recognize what you thought, sir, but you don't get to decide when you have a need to respond. Court rules tell you when you have to respond. You understand that, correct? Okay, Mr. Ghana, you can argue your motion. You can have a seat, sir.
This action, plaintiff filed a small claims case, and his basis is that he has never received his tax return, and we're aware of it. The facts of the case are very simple. My client is a tax preparer. This gentleman came to get some service, did not complete service. The tax return was prepared, but my client never filed it. So I don't object to that.
Okay, what are we objecting to here?
I'm objecting to him saying that he, his agent actually prepared my taxes, but did not file it because I can prove that he did file it.
Okay, well, this is not a trial. You don't get to object to their motion. That would, you can write down anything you want to address, so when it's your turn, you can address it then. I'm not gonna have you going back and forth objecting to things you disagree with. Let him get it out. Same way I'm gonna let him do the same for you when it's your turn, okay? So just write down whatever you have a concern with that you want to address, so you can remember to say it. Do you need a pen, sir? Can you give me a pen? Okay, so you said that the plaintiff says that,
He filed a complaint saying that he never received his tax return. My client is a tax preparer. This gentleman did come to my client's place, did not complete a filing tax return.
you said did not?
Did not complete or file it for the plaintiff. The exhibits attached, actually provided by Mr. Haji, my exhibit A, he got a letter from the state of Michigan. I guess he inquired from the state of Michigan as to where his tax return is. And the state told him we deposited that return in an account number you provided to us. He did come to the office and he said, here's what my tax return sent, but it was completed.
Okay, let me slow you down here because I'm getting confused.
Sure.
He hired your client to do the taxes? Is that accurate?
He came to get done. He did not complete the service. He didn't pay for the service. He had a conversation, brought some information. They prepared the return. We don't know how we got it filed. We did not file the return.
But your client prepared the return.
Initially, prepared it only on paper, did not file it.
Okay. You gotta slow down for me. We're talking about taxes here.
So my client's agent did meet with this gentleman and prepared a return.
Mhm.
Preparing it on paper to pen does not mean filing. My affidavit shows if he does file a tax return, they have a system that would file it for the party, and then the refund goes to that party, but my client gets paid in the tax return.
Okay, I have a question.
Sure.
Why did he not file it?
Don't know. He didn't pay for the service to get it filed. He didn't complete the service. The only assumption we have is he took the return and filed it on his own. His complaint, you go off his complaint. All his complaint is, it says, I have evidence I did not receive my tax return. The plaintiff provided me a letter, which is my exhibit A, that he received. He must have tracked down his own tax return And the state of Michigan said, we deposited your tax refund into the bank account and identified on your tax return. That information he provided to my client. So that's Exhibit A. Exhibit B is a copy of the initial document, prepared initial tax return. And on the almost 2/3 to 3/3 down, there's an account number that the plaintiff provided. It's typical nowadays, people want their money directly to deposit. That's the information received. We did not receive any refund. We checked with the client, so I sent a subpoena to find out where it was deposited. We found that was deposited in Chase bank account. Exhibit C is a copy of the response to my subpoena. And it shows that, and we don't know who this Dwight room is, but it shows there in fact was that $1,300 deposited in that bank account on May 14th. And then it immediately the same day, one transaction later, 700 is taken out of the account, and a few days later, 600 is taken out of the account. So we located by my effort where that money went to based on the information he provided. Exhibit D is a copy of my client's affidavit indicating that they did not file this return. If they had filed a return for any person, that goes into a computer system and they would generate documentation in a file showing this file with the state of Michigan. They have none of that. The affidavit clearly supports nothing. The plaintiff isn't claiming we took it. He's just saying in his complaint, I have evidence I never received it. We have no dispute to that fact. All we can show where it went, don't know whose account it is. The state of Michigan also indicates in their letter that they provided it to that account number. So we had no responsibility. His other claim in his complaint is that we're aware of the fact. Yes, he came to complain, and Mr. Haji, I think, called the police to go down and talk to my client. They came down and they found nothing. So Mr. Haji has the burden of proof in this case. The first circumstance, he did not provide a response. I know he understands he didn't need to, didn't feel he needed to, but the court was required a response. It requires a counter affidavit, counter documents. On that alone, it should be dismissed. I filed also under C8. Plaintiff has failed to state a claim upon which relief to be granted on 2.168. And there's no factual basis that could justify an amendment to support this claim. Claiming no wrongdoing to my client. The other circumstance, I believe that we're entitled to judge pursuant to MCR 2.116 C10. There's no genuine issue of fact by the pleadings alone, plus his documents. He's not alleging we had the money. He's not alleging we took it. He's just saying he didn't get it. And we were aware of it. Yes, we're aware of it. He came down to complain and said, I don't have my return. My client doesn't have an obligation to track down a refund for someone they did not file taxes for. I think that this is frivolous. I feel for Mr. Haji, if he didn't get his money from the state, that's not our problem. We did not file the return. We have no idea where his return is. And he's not alleging that we took it. He's not asking for it. He just says, help me track it down. I tracked it down by subpoena from the account number and information I received from his tax return. We don't know who this person is in Pontiac at the White Room. Not our obligation to track it down. If he thinks someone else has his return, then he should go to that person. We have no idea who that person is. We look, there's no information of that gentleman room in our system. This is a Lansing case. I don't know who this person is in Pontiac. My client could not dream up an account number at the bank and say, I'm going to have this client's refund sent to this entity. So I think the evidence is clear that there is no claim filed whatsoever that could be sustained in court. There's not a cause of action referenced. And if you could reference cause of action by his own admissions, he's not saying we did anything wrong. He's just saying, I didn't get my return. That is not a viable cause of action. We ask for judgment to be granted in our favor.
Okay, and Mr. Hodge. Did I pronounce that properly?
Yes, you did.
Okay.
Can I speak on that? Or?
Yes.
So don't know where to start, but this isn't the trial.
Well, this is your, you can tell me why you believe that they are responsible and respond to their motion verbally at this point.
Well, first of all, I never accused tax pros of taking my money and putting it wherever. But what I'm accusing them of is their agent misappropriated my money into the account of someone else. I did not authorize, nor did I dream up that account number either. The agent, I'm assuming himself put that in. And I
When
have,
you say you're assuming yourself put it in, what do you mean?
I didn't dictate to him that account number because I don't know that person as well. I don't know that bank account number or the account number.
Okay,
So
let me stop you. So are you saying that they filed your tax return?
I went to them, he's saying that I just received consultation. I actually paid for Ali Jones, their tax preparer, to file my taxes.
Yeah, proof.
Yes, I did. Exhibit 2, well, I don't know, but anyway, this is exhibit 2 and 3.
Whose exhibits?
Mine-
Their exhibits or you
mine,
have?
But I've shown him these exhibits. as well.
Okay, we mark exhibits here. You marked them yourself? Because you didn't file anything.
I did, I gave you all, I sent all these
What
exhibits.
you mean in your complaint? Is that what you're talking about? At least from your complaint?
Yeah, I think you have.
Okay,
Can I approach you then?
let's see here. Nope, you can approach, he's gonna approach you.
To help the plaintiff out, I don't think he didn't file with the complaint. I believe after our joint pretrial statement, he might have filed exhibits with the court.
Or anyway.
Not response to motion and not with his pleading, but
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't have any exhibits from you, sir.
This is what I got from him after I paid my taxes.
Okay, this is not, I need proof that they filed it, that you paid them to file your taxes. And not just prepare them.
This is what I got from the Treasury Department. As it's in red, it says as a copy as received or filed. And that's what he gave me, the first one with the 3 on there. And then the other one that's pretty much identical is the one that he submitted. And it
Okay.
has his identifiers on it.
Well, it says that they prepared it. It says you filed it, MH, isn't that your initial?
That is my initial, but I did not put that there. He put that there. Or someone else put that there, because on the day, like I said, that first paper I gave you is what he gave me, and that does not have my initials or a date on it. I was under the assumption that we were not complete with the taxes and that I was to come back, but I never came back because I'm asking him, I'm calling Ali Jones, I'm asking him, their tax preparer, where's my money at? He's not giving me any conclusive answers. So then I did that as well, which is I asked the Treasury Department to send me what was sent to them, and that's what was sent to them. And that is not my initials, and that I did not put that date on it. So that is something that they generated.
This is something that who generated?
Tax pros sent that to the Treasury. Department.
You're alleging that they did, correct? That's
I
an
didn't send-
allegation.
I didn't send it there. I'm saying that for sure.
Well, that you can say for sure, but you can't, did you see who sent that there? So
It got there
you're
by some way,
alleging.
because all I did is gave Ali Jones all my information, which is an exact copy of the same
This.
thing there.
You,
except
this is,
I
but
didn't
you thought that yours, so you thought your taxes were not complete, correct? Okay, and so this information is what you were provided from,
I
the
provided everything except for that account number. I was sitting before a tax preparer when all of that was generated.
okay. And this was the tax preparer that you sat
No,
with or
his
someone else?
agent. I think he's.
Someone
the
that
owner.
worked there. Got it. Okay. And so when you reached out to find out what happened to your tax return, this is what the treasurer
They
sent
said
you?
that's what they received from wherever they got it from, because I didn't send that in. So I'm assuming that they got it from tax pros, but they're the only people that I shared that information with.
they respond to that point, Your Honor.
I'm gonna give him a chance to get it all out. You can continue, sir.
So, yes. So I hired tax pros and its agents to file my Michigan, well, the whole 2020 return. However, I was only expecting a refund from my 2020 Michigan state for that year. And I did not receive the return for 2020, so I had to figure out what happened. And this is where I'm at. So I also, in addition to those things, I have a tax year where, because 3 years prior to that, prior to 2020, all the way up to 2017, I was using tax pros to file my taxes. I had no issues with that. I even have a 2019 tax return, which if you look, I did file that myself. I just went to them for the consultation of that, but it does not say, it does not have in there.
A routing number?
Nope, it doesn't have, it says self-prepare. It doesn't say that,
Have you ever had them do your taxes and they filed it for you?
yes, this is, oh, no, that, this is the only time when something similar to that happened. That's when Joan sent that in, and, it wasn't right. Real unorganized, really. Okay, so yeah, in this exhibit, which is the one I'm referring to, it has my correct account and routing number, but it does not have Ali Jones or any tax pros identifiers, because he did just consult in that instance and I sent it in. But in the instance that I showed prior to that, it doesn't look like that. It doesn't say self-prepared, because again, he filed that. I didn't, or someone filed that for me. I didn't file that. So no, I don't know at the White Room. No, I did not give them those account numbers, and it makes no sense for me to do that because I wouldn't receive it. I don't know the guy. So someone else did that, and that is not my initials nor my signature or the date. I didn't put the date there.
Anything else you want to add, sir?
Yep. And the other thing is I went and spent 16, well, it doesn't matter how much I spent, but I spent a lot of money on getting a handwriting examination done on that. And I can provide that as well.
I object. I didn't check the court documents. I have no information. You can't come to court and say, I hired an expert. You got nothing from him.
But I told you
This is, I've not seen a document. So I think to argue things that we've never seen is
Correct.
inappropriate.
So if you wouldn't got an expert to do an examination, you have to follow the court rules, sir. You can't let you just blow all the court rules out and come in trial by ambush, meaning you're not giving them sufficient
I
notice to
understand.
know what you're bringing. So you were supposed to, that's why we did that pretrial statement.
I
There
did
was some,
supply that in the pretrial statement that I wanted to get it.
I know you supplied that you wanted to, you were required to provide them all of your discovery or your exhibits in advance. And I don't think you put anything about it. Listen, plaintiff may hire a witness for expert for handwriting.
Yes,
That was back, this was completed in December. Did you provide them with a copy of that information?
unfortunately, I only got this 2 days ago, and that
Okay.
because I had to
Okay,
generate
so-
the money to get it, but
Hold on to that. You can't use it for the purpose of this motion anyways. And if this is gonna go beyond the motion, then you'll have to provide that to Mr. Gotti. Did you have anything else you wanted to add? Other than the handwriting sample?
no, not this time.
Brief response, Your Honor. With all due respect to Mr. Hodge, he himself, he just told the court that he did not go back to tax pros to finish the tax return. There's nothing federal filed. There's no proof he made any payment to my client. I don't know if it's been a 2019 tax return. By his own admission, it sounds like he's gone other years to consult and then he's self-filed. It sounds like what he's done. That his mission in 19 tax returns, he consulted and self-filed. I'm assuming did, again, use the word assume, should use the word assume. There's no documentation, he did not do the same for 2020. I think that by his admission, he did go to tax pros in the past to consult, but then self-file is more credible to our argument. The affidavit provided to my client indicates they did not file it. If my client files a tax return in the state of the affidavit, the small amount of money they get is sent by the state. I'm not in the system, it's in the affidavit. We are the defendant. Plaintiff has a burden of proof. There's no establishment that he hired us. that we filed it, that he paid us. Other than he consulted, just like he did other years, and I'm not seeing those exhibits, and he didn't follow through. I don't know what the state of Michigan provides or doesn't provide. I've not got a document to that effect, so I think that, Your Honor, that it should be dismissed on a C8 and a C10, and there's no response. And on a C8, the rules do say if the amendment would prove the consequences, that there could be cause of action, there's nothing here by the administrators of plaintiff that would prove that an amendment to the pleadings would provide more information. His own admission that he's gone to consult in the past and self-filed is evidence that he did not do this for 2020. I asked the court to dismiss on the 3 grounds, C10, C8, and no response to the motions required by 2.16 G. I understand Mr. Hodge spent some money to do some things. My client's got more invested in this case to defend himself, and sometimes it's more about principle when someone accuses of doing something wrong. And in this case, he's not even accused of doing something wrong. The plaintiff's just saying, and he admit today, tax pro did get our money, his money. We're not the bearer of his accounts, so I ask the court enter judgment out there.
Okay, so his allegation is not that your client took his money. I think he said that verbatim.
Misappropriated.
He says that an agent, this is what he's alleging, that an agent misappropriated, meaning someone fraudulently signed his initials and filed his tax return. What I have here before me, which is very limited, is a copy as filed indicating that your taxes was prepared by tax pros. I have the signature of the preparer, that preparer being Ollie Jones.
Correct.
And then I have, I'm sorry.
It's not a signature and that's not mine. I didn't put those initials.
Okay, and so, Mr. Ghani, your client's not disputing that they prepared his taxes.
Initially, like I said.
Well, their
consulted-
signatures on this
consulted
document, is that not their signature?
and approached.
Yes.
This is the same copy I have, Your Honor. That appears to be a signature of an Ollie Jones. But again, my client's happy. We did not file a tax return for him. There's no alleging, the complaint doesn't allege misappropriation. That's his claim now. My client did not file the tax return. When you, on the top.
Well, the allegation is that he did, or someone that is, someone did. He's not saying specifically, you said that this man prepared your
No, not
tax?
him. He's the owner, I think, of the place.
Okay.
I'm saying one of his agents.
Okay,
Ollie Jones.
why is your client signing as preparer if he didn't prepare these?
Right, when you can, the affidavit source, when a person comes in, they prepare the document, and Mr. Hodge did not go back to complete the return.
Right, my
I don't-
concern is he said he never met, your client didn't prepare.
Correct.
He said someone else did. Why is he signing it then?
He didn't sign it. That's not, it's Ollie Jones. That's not, that's a
who?
former employee.
Oh, Ollie
Agent, I
Jones, a
should
former,
say.
got it, Ollie Jones is. Did you subpoena Ollie Jones here?
I did, and unfortunately, my agent or the people that I went to go sent to find him, they couldn't find him. I don't know him personally like that. So I can't lead him to where, maybe they know where he lives at, but I don't know him like that. And the only reason why I hired Ollie Jones is because I thought he was a tax pro.
You thought he was a tax pro?
Pro, that's what they say they're. a tax
Ollie
pro.
Jones worked there is what you're
Yes,
saying?
He works there as a tax, or he worked there as a tax.
Or he used to work there? Okay,
You're at I don't know anything about misappropriation. My client said they clearly says they did not misappropriate money. An employee would not be, he's an independent contractor, did not do that. We have what we have. It's a plain.
we don't know if an employee did that. We don't know. If he went in there, it's plausible. It's not unbelievable to believe that someone could have taken his taxes and filed it without his permission. Problem is, you gotta prove it.
That is a possibility. Again.
The
that-
problem
that's
is you have to
just-
prove that. You can't just make allegations without proof. The burden is squarely upon you.
And I want to include as an exhibit, if I allowed, the handwriting expert, which,
You can include that for a trial. We're not prepared to go to a trial today, clearly. I think that the motion for summary disposition still creates, for me, an issue, because I don't think that you provided enough to go beyond summary disposition. You had to state in your complaint a sufficient amount of, or plead a sufficient amount of information. Your complaint, as you filed it, it would be nice if they would tab these
I have a copy if
files.
you need, Your Honor.
No, we have it in here. The problem is they just pile stuff on top of each other and expect you to sift through everything in the middle of the court hearing. Okay, you filed a small claims originally affidavit indicating that you're claiming claim arose back on May 14, 2021. The amount was $1,300. That's being claimed, that you have evidence that you never received your state tax return and that the defendants were made aware of the fact.
yes, can I speak to
Oh.
that?
Well, you had an opportunity to speak to that in your motion, but the thing is, when you file like a complaint, a civil complaint to sue someone, you gotta put them on sufficient notice as to what you're alleging they did. That complaint is not sufficient to put them on notice of what you're saying that they did that caused you to be out of the $1,300. I'm not saying that you weren't wronged in some way. It sounds like you were. I don't think you have enough evidence right now to prove that he's responsible for it. If you're gonna bring this lawsuit, and that was the whole point of having discovery, so that you can subpoena or request sufficient enough information so that you can formulate enough of proof to help support this claim. You can't just throw allegations out there and then say, well, I didn't do it, so they obviously did it. That's not how it works. You wanted to speak to something?
I also think I lost my train of thought.
I want to say one thing, maybe it helps plaintiff. In the caption, he named three people, Frank Judge, my client. The court dismissed that by stipulation. He's no longer defendant. He does have Ollie Jones as a defendant. I don't know if he served him, what his position is, Ollie Jones. He can remain with Ollie Jones as a defendant. That's not a projection of ours. Tax Pros was, and we corrected the court that Tax Pros is not the correct name. It's an LLC and it's PROZ. So we made that our pleadings correctly, but Frank Judge was dismissed already by stipulation in the pretrial. Ollie Jones was a named defendant. If he believes Ollie Jones wrong, he should continue against Ollie Jones.
You said Tax Pros is not the correct name?
It's Tax PROZ, right?
Oh, okay,
Tax
that's
Pros
what,
LLC.
got it. And that's what's on this document that he submitted from the treasurer, says Tax Pros.
That's the name. So I
441.
just corrected the caption.
Gotcha.
I didn't change the caption because I'm not allowed to change the caption. But
Gotcha.
if he has a cause against Ollie Jones, that we're not asking to dismiss that, he should proceed with that. But as to us.
Well, I would imagine if he had, as an agent, that
Yeah.
Ally Jones was an agent of Tax Pro, so I wouldn't like, he can proceed against Ally Jones and Tax Pros. He's just gotta get some proof.
And this was the time it's been going since May. I understand he's not an attorney, but when you come to this court, you're obligated to follow the court rules. We've complied with the court rules. We spent a tremendous amount of effort and time. Nothing's been presented. This is a day of trial, and he has an obligation. He should consult an attorney or follow the court rules. It should not be our burden to have to suffer because the plaintiff did not comply with the court rules, Your Honor. We ask that our client be dismissed. Frank Judge is already dismissed. Your Honor is correct. There's not sufficient proof at this time, and he didn't file a response.
Did you ever serve this other party? Ally Jones? Ally Jones is the employee of yours or was an
Yes,
agent?
contracted employee.
Okay, he's still an agent there?
No, he's moved on to a different business as of last year.
Okay, it doesn't look like you ever got service on Ollie Jones.
I did. I can show you receipt of me trying to serve him if you want.
No, I don't wanna know about trying to serve.
Oh.
You gotta serve. That's
I have to
required.
serve him?
They have to be served.
I hired the guys to go and find him. They don't know where he lives, so maybe he can tell us where he lives.
We
I
don't
don't
know
know.
either.
But like I said, I don't know the guy. I just hired a tax pro is what I thought. So.
But
and
you-
didn't know
I
needed to
agree.
know all
I
that.
agree that you hired tax pros and that this was an agent of tax pros. And tax pros was properly served. I don't think that you pled sufficient facts at this point to overcome the motion for summary disposition. I think you probably could pursue the case with an attorney or something to that effect. It's gonna cost you more than what you're seeking, though. But I don't think you're able to navigate this sufficiently on your own, because you need to get some evidence, and you need to get some parties served, some proper parties served and subpoenaed before the court. Primarily, this person who signed this, which is an Ollie Jones. You gotta have some evidence that they misappropriated, or his agent misappropriated your funds, not just that there was something with a signature on it that was filed, because he can make the same claim against you that we didn't do that, you did that, you filed it this way. That's essentially what they're saying.
Yeah, but you never looked at my handwriting analysis, which that's definitely.
I can't look at it because you didn't do it you didn't handle it properly. You didn't handle your case properly. You gotta follow the court rules, sir. You didn't even put them on notice that you gotta.
I had to get the funds to, it costs kind of a lot of money, so. but
I
was
recognize
able to
that,
get it,
but we had a
and,
scheduling order. If you needed additional time, you
well,
was,
can I get additional time?
well, today was the date set for trial. And you never even responded to the summary judgment motion or disposition motion, which today was the date for that too. I'm going to grant their motion for summary disposition because you've not overcome that motion in and of itself. So we're not proceeding to trial at this time. You need to refile your case in another way if you want to get recovery. Okay, sir?
All right.
I mean, I have an order, a blank order prepared, I'm at approach honor. I wrote to it granted, but I don't want to make any assertion against Ollie Jones. I know the court rules require that if you do file a complaint, you have 91 days to serve the defendant. I don't want to preclude plaintiff from being able to go after Ollie Jones if that's his choice. So I didn't want the order to say against all defendants.
Correct.
I'm not sure if the case was dismissed. I think 21103.
He's only, I think he's only gotten one person served. It says on our proof of service that service wasn't effectuated on the person who actually signed.
So the order should say Frank Judge was dismissed by pretrial early by stipulation, and would ask that the court include that plus tax pros PROZ LLC. That whatever the court's language was, that should not foreclose it actually against Ollie Jones at this one. I didn't know how you wanted to put the order, so I left it blank for you.
The issue is, I don't want to preclude him from being able to refile and include tax pros because Ollie Jones is an agent of tax pros. And so if he's gonna refile, he's gonna need to name tax pros properly, PROZ.
And is it 91 days that I have? Is that what you?
You were supposed to have filed under that summons and complaint. You would probably, to be honest, you filed this as a small claims in the first place. You're gonna need to refile from and start all over and properly serve. I don't know where you're gonna get the contact information for Ollie Jones. I don't know if the amount of money you're gonna have to expend to prove this is worth it to you. I don't know if you're just doing this on principle. Yeah, I don't know if this is for a principal argument for you. But obviously, you're alleging some level of fraud.
Absolutely.
And you've contacted law enforcement, correct?
And I've had problems with unemployment because I've had identity theft too. And I think it resulted from that time, but it's really hard for me to prove all that. But ever since I went to tax pros, I've been experiencing all kinds of things.
And so when
That's why
when
I'm
tax
having
pros
this-
do they ever send you emails? Okay, you don't get this stuff via your tax information via email? Okay, you just get
I've
paperwork?
since went to somewhere else completely, but yeah, when they were doing it, I was just getting paperwork like that. Now I see you get a lot more from other people, so I don't believe.
I just want to respond when the allegation of the statements related, he never said he hardly, he said he consulted, in his own words were he self-filed. So I think that's.
He said in the past, he
In
used
the
this one
past.
as for self-filed, and it says self-filed on it. This one here does not say self-filed. It doesn't, he said this is the one he left with. It doesn't say self-filed on that. There's also no signature from Ollie Jones on that particular one, and no signature from him. On the other one that he claims that he got from the treasurer, there is a signature from an Ollie Jones, what appears to be initials of MH, and the date of April 1st, 2021. And so he's saying that that took place subsequent to him leaving. The other concern that I have, though, is that he said, you're saying that you never provided them with a routing number, an account number, correct? Well, you said that when you left, you had this. It has the same routing number on it.
I know, and I acknowledge that, and I looked at that, but I didn't think at the time, because I didn't think to check and see if that was my account number. Because I
This is what you
assumed that it
said,
was
you
from
had
that.
knowledge of this on there. This is what you gave the court and said, when you left, this information was on there.
Yeah, that account number was on there, but I hadn't signed for that, so there was no reason for me to believe that that was going to be submitted.
I understand that, but this is the same information that was here. You're saying that someone went ahead and prepared it or filed it without your permission, and they're saying, well, we didn't file it, you self-filed it. Well, you have to prove who filed it then. And all you provided was that it was filed. They're filed from what mechanism? Was it electronically filed? Who electronically filed it? Because that information could be traced. That's through law enforcement. Okay? And you need to get that traced. So
The
you can
first
prove.
tracer was not what I needed, something more extensive than that,
You said what?
because I did do a tracer.
Well, you didn't provide anything to show me who filed it. You just
but it
said,
didn't show
it's
me.
just showing that it was filed. Who filed it?
How do you go about, can I ask you, how do you get that trace done?
You contact law enforcement, and if you're filing a fraud and complaint, they'll figure that out. You can let them know what you need. I can tell you how they're gonna trace that for you. But
Even
I would
though I've
imagine
already-
that there's some mechanism that I'm pretty sure that they know where tax returns are being filed from.
Even though I've already done a police report, doing nothing.
I'm pretty sure the treasurer knows where tax returns are being filed from. If they're being filed through a company, they know it. It's being filed by an individual personally, they know it.
So the thing that said as filed is not showing.
It just says as filed, but this isn't telling you by who, as filed by whom, who filed it. You need to go back to the treasurer's department and ask them who filed it. Maybe the person who received your money filed it. That person who received your
He
money,
wasn't there on the day when
it doesn't matter. The person who received your money should have been named in this lawsuit. I don't see you naming him. You know he got your money. At
I
least you do
didn't
now.
know that at first.
Well, you know now. He's the one who has your money. And that's information that could also be supplemented to the lease. But I'm not saying that you don't have a issue, just you didn't file it properly. So you need to do it over the right way, okay, sir? And then get you some court rules if you're gonna litigate yourself. Because he knows the court rules. The attorneys are gonna know the court rules, and the court can give leniency, but I can't just let you blow through all the court rules just because you're not an attorney. You brought a lawsuit, so you're required to verse yourself sufficient enough to know how to follow the process. Okay? Okay,
And the
so
order, it should be defendant Frank, judge is dismissed. He was we did a pre-trial.
correct.
But as the tax pros, what we're trying to do, he's named the wrong party to tax. If he wanted to get the right party, we told him it's tax pros here, OZ LLC. So should the order reflect the improper spelling or the correct spelling?
I'm gonna have it reflect the improper spelling, because that's who we serve, tax pros.
So it's PROZ.
PROS is what you, who you sued. You didn't sue the proper name, which is PROZ.
Well, you have me listed as Muhammad Haji. My name is Muhammad Haj. But it's-
Just make sure. Correct, please, correct. You're right, I believe the court will not properly address, I did ask for criminal filing to wait for, probably not grant that. But in the event he does file again, it does not have sufficient evidence, and I think at that point we're entitled to sanctions and attorney fees. Everybody has a right to litigate, but if he files again against my client, we incur a lot of money to defend again, and he comes to the court as he is today without any evidence, I think we're probably for sanctions and attorney fees at that point.
I would agree. Sir, you've been advised multiple times today. You gotta get the court rules. You can
I
Google,
agree.
you can Google court rules. Michigan court rules, okay? For civil, so you know what you're doing a little bit better, okay? Because you don't want to get hit with sanctions on something that you're pursuing as a matter of principle at this point, because it doesn't sound like it sounds like you're spending a lot of money to do this.
Yeah.
Okay, any additional matters for the record? I've edited your order to include the name Frank Chaju and tax pros as it was named in this particular complaint. Any additional matters for the record? Okay, you're all set for today. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day, people.
Have a good one. There was someone in the breakout room. Did they complete what they were supposed to complete? They're still in the breakout room. A fairly robust conversation. Let's see.